In Brooklyn, Caitlin Clark made her return to the WNBA floor. And the moment she stepped out of that tunnel, you could feel it. But before we get into this game, we have to set the stage. The history between Clark and Breanna Stewart has been one of the defining storylines of women's basketball over the last 2 years. Back in 2025, Stewart hard-fouled Clark into the base of the basket, sending her crashing down hard in a moment that divided the basketball world right down the middle. Dirty foul or regular physicality? Depending on who you asked, you got a completely different answer.
2 for 1.
Clark stutter step goes right by Stewart, but blocked. Big time collision.
And when these two stepped onto the same floor, every single person watching knew the tension was still very much alive. Clark came in healthy for the first time in nearly a year. The groin injury that cut her 2025 season to just 13 games now behind her. And even in those 13 games, she averaged 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game, and made the All-Star team for the second year in a row. That is what this woman does even when she is not fully healthy. New York came in with Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones leading one of the deepest rosters in the league. But they weren't ready for Caitlin Clark. Indiana jumped out of the gates fast. Clark drove the baseline and kissed a floater off the glass to open the scoring. And just like that, the 9-month wait was over. She was back, she looked comfortable, and the building felt it immediately. Then she did something that made the entire arena hold its breath. She pulled up from 29 feet, stepped back, no hesitation, and buried it clean. 8-0. Indiana before the Liberty could even find their footing, and Cunningham had already hit one of her own to help push it there. The Fever were locked in from the very first possession. Stewart wasn't going to let Indiana just run away with it though. She attacked the rim for a cutting layup, then immediately turned around and did it again with a finger roll. And just like that, the Liberty were right back in it. Every Clark-Stewart exchange had the crowd on edge, and the energy every time they were within 5 feet of each other was unlike anything else in women's basketball right now. Indiana kept answering though. Clark threaded a perfect pass to Cunningham, cutting to the rim, and then stepped to the line and knocked down both free throws to keep the Fever ahead. She looked like herself, fluid, sharp, in complete command of the game, and Indiana went into the second quarter up 32-24. It was a statement first quarter from a player who had something to prove. Then, Stewart took it personally. The moment the second quarter started, Stewart was a completely different player. A finger roll, a pull-up 3, another finger roll, another 3, all in the span of about 3 minutes. 14 straight points. Just her. And the Liberty had not only erased the Indiana lead, but flipped it entirely. The Fever looked shell-shocked, and the Barclays Center crowd was firmly back on New York's side. Indiana called timeout trying to slow the bleeding, and the Liberty bench kept piling on. Zhu came in and immediately added a hook shot and a turnaround jumper to push New York's lead to 8. Clark was on the bench resting, and without her, the Fever had no answers for what Stewart and the Liberty were doing. Enter Kelsey Mitchell. The first $1 million player in Fever history went on a personal 10-point run that completely shifted the game's momentum back to Indiana. A step-back 3 here, a driving layup there. Just relentless. Clark came back in, immediately found Mitchell cutting for a gorgeous pass, and Mitchell answered with a 3 to give Indiana the halftime lead at 53-48. The Fever survived Stewart's second quarter explosion and went into the break in front. The Fever went into the locker room, leading, and as a team, they looked like a squad that had something to prove. Indiana came out of halftime looking like a completely different team. Mitchell immediately picked up where she left off, and Walker Kimbrough started imposing her will off the bench. The Liberty were struggling to generate any clean looks, and Indiana was converting everything. The lead that had evaporated in the second quarter was steadily growing again. Timmons hit a step back off a McConnell feed to push it to 9, and then Cunningham got a steal and converted the other way to make it 11. The crowd had gone quiet, and the Liberty were cycling through lineups trying to find something that worked. Zhu kept them alive with buckets off the bench. She finished the third with 14 points. But Indiana just had too much depth and too much energy. The fourth quarter wasn't even a contest. Walker Kimbrough opened it with a driving layup, then a free throw, and then Justine came off the bench and buried back-to-back threes that pushed the lead to 17, before New York could even call a timeout. Johnson was everywhere. 8 assists on the night, making the right read every single time, giving Indiana's offense a completely different dimension. Walker Kimbrough then stepped back from 28 feet and buried a three off a Johnson dish to push the lead all the way to 23, and that was essentially the ball game. The starters started heading to the bench. Both teams ran through their reserves, and Indiana just kept the foot on the gas all the way to the final buzzer. The final score, Indiana Fever 109, New York Liberty 91. Mitchell and Walker Kimbrough led Indiana with 18 points each. Walker Kimbrough in particular was outstanding with 18 points and a team-high 8 assists from the reserve role. Cunningham added 13 points. And first-round pick Raven Johnson was genuinely dazzling in her preseason debut, with 6 points and 8 assists in just 17 minutes. An immediate sign that Indiana's backcourt depth is going to be special this year. And then there was Clark. She played 17 minutes, all in the first half, and finished with 7 points on 2 of 10 shooting with 3 rebounds and 4 assists. The shooting numbers weren't what anyone wanted, and she would be the first to say that. But the movement looked right, the confidence was there, and the moments where she took over were a reminder of just how special she is when healthy. She scored the first basket of the game, buried a 3 from 29 feet, and distributed the ball like only she can. For a first preseason game, back from a 9-month absence, the foundation is absolutely there. As for Stewart, she finished with 16 points in limited minutes and looked every bit as dangerous as she always has. The rivalry between these two is real. It's unfinished, and it is going to make every single Fever Liberty game this season must-see television. Stewart never sent Clark into the base of the basket, but if you watched closely, you could see it in both of their eyes. This story is nowhere close to over. The regular season starts May 8th, and we will absolutely be watching. The fact that so many players, especially the stars of the league, were gunning for her head the second that she entered the league as a rookie tells me that there is a chance that it's even worse this year. And while it is dangerous for Clark, it can lead to those moments that prove why she is so talented and one of the best players to ever step into the WNBA, even at her young age. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what you thought down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the episode if you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.